Evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call this public hearing to order. The purpose of this evening's meeting is to discuss the potential of constructing a building in Highland Meadows Golf Club. And with us this evening are all members of City Council. I just wanted to make a note that Mr. McCann is pushed back to the table and recusing himself from this, so for the purposes of the recording. Also in attendance are the mayor, members of the administration, Ms. Browning, Mr. Shaw, Chief Miller, Mr. Sanford, Mr. Silvernail, our clerk of council, Ms. Bigelow, and then members from the general public and the fourth state. So I know that we had this potential building. It went to the Planning Commission. Is that correct? It was approved unanimously by the Planning Commission. And we also, Ms. Bigelow sent letters out, I believe, to all the potential impacted parties on all the various plots of ground surrounding the club, correct?
79 or 80 letters that went out.
Okay, including the ones the whole way down to the or whole way up to the north side of the course, which is far away from the building, correct?
That is correct, and the listing is online and in the packets.
Right. Yeah, I saw that. I just wanted to mention it for the record. So in a public hearing, this is your opportunity as a member of the public to have input on this matter. And in this particular regard, I would be open to any comments from the public for the potential building. If you don't have to feel obligated to say anything, but you're welcome to do that. Are there any people here to speak for the construction of the building? Please come on up.
Can we get an explanation of exactly what we're doing there? What's going to be happening there?
Sure.
We don't have any idea.
Okay.
It's a store, it's an,
I think there's a gentleman here from Highland Meadows that can help explain that to you. Hey, if you could come up and identify yourself for the record, please.
Hello, my name is Nick Myers. I'm the golf pro at Highland Meadows. The addition is basically an add-on to a building that's not currently there. It's going to be used for storage. It's adding a 30-foot extension to the existing facility that we have on site. What the proposed addition is.
Yeah, there you
It
go.
would be heading to the west towards the gate. There's a fence there. Yeah, there's a 30-foot. It's going to extend that tan building 30 feet or 32 feet.
That's what we look at right now.
This is the addition.
Right, and this is what we look at now.
However, subsequent to this picture, they cut down a spruce tree in anticipation of getting their way on this hearing, and have extended out a parking lot. Looks to me like you're starting on some.
We haven't started anything. Parking lot has not been extended.
Oh, well, you cut down the spruce tree.
So you can
But-
just
And now-
Hold on. This is,
And now we can see cars parked there.
if you could just let the gentleman speak, you'll have an opportunity to speak as well. So, go ahead, sir. Go ahead, Nick.
He's referring to, we cut down a spruce there, a tree there, which was on the side of that building. So we cut that down going forward, so that's what you're referring to. The parking lot has not been added to, it's just an area that is inside our maintenance facility that's gated. It's gonna tie into the gate, and we're gonna add an additional gate at some point to that area. There's a black fence around the property on that section, and we're gonna add, it's gonna almost take it to about 15, 20 feet, and we're gonna tie it into the gate to that building.
Where's the parking lot?
It's behind that building.
So you're not gonna build a parking
No,
lot to the west?
nothing's
Okay,
changed.
parking lot's going on.
You're just gonna see 30 more feet of that building is all you're gonna see.
The black fencing that's there, is that staying
Yes.
for,
It just encloses the maintenance area.
Oh. So
Nick,
the
if you
members
could,
don't
please.
have to see the maintenance area.
Yes, we just could enclose it to kind of conceal it so you can't see into it as much.
If you could let us, do you have a sense of about how far it is from where this construction would be occurring? I'm assuming you must know these people based on the conversation going back and forth. Which house do you live in?
I live on Third Street, the three of us live on.
Oh, it's crap, you live on Third Street, correct. You have a pool? It's 150 plus yards, close to 200 yards, give or take, from the sight line. There's 3 green, there's 4 hole, and there's 15 holes, what's in between it. And then there's another 40 yards between 15 and the maintenance building.
Okay. Any questions from members of council for Mr. Myers?
There was a comment about fencing. Could you just explain that a little further?
In the property where that building's at, there's our 14th hole and our 15th hole. We have fenced that around that and put black meshing so you can't see into our maintenance area from the golf course and from the backside. We've extended that fence to the other side, and we're gonna tie that in once the building is constructed, if it's approved, then we're gonna tie that in with a gate. So that will be basically concealed in that area.
Other questions from council members, comments from Mr. Myers? Thank you very much. Is there anybody else here from Highland Meadows or anyone else that wanted to speak on behalf of proceeding with this from the general public? Okay, seeing none. Now, I would give the opportunity for citizens that are concerned about it or opposed to this construction. Please come up and identify yourself, sir.
Hi, my name's Tom Kraft. I live at 7320 Oak Hill Drive. And I am one of the properties that probably am the most affected by this plan. It's sad to say that we're never informed in advance of anything that's going on at Highland. I try to be a good neighbor to them. However, I don't feel as though they're as the best a neighbor as far as I'm concerned to me. And to amplify on that, I bought this house 30 years ago. One of the draws to purchase this house was a beautiful scenic view that I had out my backyard. That's no more. They put a warehouse back there. Again, that was given to them as a variance. I was kind of misinformed as to exactly where that building was going to go. I was misled. I did not show at a hearing when that original warehouse was being built. And I look right at it, and it's not a pleasant sight for me, especially when you have knowledge of what was there before. Now, the problem is that it seems as if they are going to do whatever they're going to do, and everybody else be damned, okay? As I mentioned already, they've cut down a tree, which maybe they have not expanded their parking lot, but now I sure see one. I see a John Deere tractor parked back there, a bunch of equipment, a couple of pickup trucks. That wasn't the view that I bought 30 years ago. And I kind of feel as though, you know, I have some rights in this matter as well, too. And it seems as if no one is really recognizing that. It would be nice, as I say, I try to be a good neighbor, if they would explain to me what it is or why they want to put that building there, it would go a long way. Tonight, this is the first I've heard as to what's going in and where, how. There's never been any reach out from anyone. They go to the Plan Commission who says, oh yeah, we like it, go ahead and do it. Well, I don't like the black fence. That's lousy. What kind of scene is that to have a big black temporary fence permanently there? They put it there so that their members and players don't have to view their maintenance area.
That's why it's there. So, you know, I guess that's my view. I feel bad that it becomes an adversarial situation where my concerns are pitted against their desire to do as they want. I don't understand why it's necessary to build an addition to store carts. Where do they store them now? Are they buying more carts that they need more storage? Is that?
We have additional carts, yes,
Yeah.
and additional storage for, like, for example, you mentioned mowers sitting outside. That's what's important.
Well, it's gotten to a point where frankly, I don't really entirely trust the information that I get from Highland. They say they're going to put carts in there. Hopefully it's not fertilizer or some other hazardous waste. They lack all credibility with me right now. One of the reasons for this is because last year I asked them, they had a dying tree that was on their property. It was suffering from oak wilt, big snags, dangerous tree, overhung their cart path, overhung my fence. I expressed to them that I was going to be doing some landscape and some hardscape, but that tree would have to come down because it was dangerous. I didn't want it to fall, and if I put up a new fence, which I did, I didn't want that tree falling on the fence and busting it right away. I was informed that, well, I didn't know what I was talking about. The tree did not have oak wilt. I said, well, according to who? Well, according to their arborist, it didn't have oak wilt. Well, the tree nonetheless was dying, and it was a pretty sad sight to look at it. However, they did say, if you will pay for it yourself, we'll let you cut our tree down. This is the kind of response that normally comes from Highland, okay? You can go ahead and take care of our problem at your expense, and that's what I did. So, again, I don't want to be hostile about the situation, but I don't feel as if anyone ever considers what my rights and what my concerns are or what my opinion is. Thank you very much, and have a good day.
Before you sit down, how far are you, what's the distance from your property line to this?
I would say his estimate is probably fairly close, around 100 yards to the building.
150 or so, that's what I was guessing.
So you're a football field away from this?
Yep.
At least?
Yep.
Okay, and you said you have a fence in your backyard?
There is a split rail fence, that's correct.
Split rail fence, that's what you put in, the split rail?
Yes, I upgraded the fence, put in a new one.
Okay. Thank you.
Looks a lot better than the black temporary fence that stretched all over the course, I might add.
Thank you very much, sir. Are there any other comments?
Hi, I'm Christine Brenner. I live at 7310 Oak Hill Drive. My backyard is the third green of Highland Meadows. When I moved in 32 and a half years ago and raised my two kids in that home, we had a park-like setting, and it was really nice. When I moved in there, I did know what to expect when you live on a golf course, as far as the early morning cutting of the grass and changing the hole position, so on and so forth. What I did not expect was the taking down of many trees that were back there. And I understand that sometimes you have to do that for better aeration on the golf course. But I look right onto the buildings that they've put up back there. Okay, it's 140, it's a football field away, but I can still see it. And I'm really surprised with this temporary black fencing that the members are happy with that, because it's not nice looking. Also, when this storage facility was put up back there, we were under the impression that it was going to be virtually invisible to us, that we wouldn't be able to see it. Well, the white pines that were back there were all trimmed up, which, you know, you do have to do that with white pines, I understand that. But nothing non-deciduous was put along this storage facility so that we would not see it. I have pictures, and just like you have pictures of what that looks like, and those are up close. From my house right now, it's not horrible. I can live with it, but that's only 5 months out of the year. All of those leaves come down, and you see the whole thing. You see the green storage buildings over here. You see the big dirt piles or mulch piles that they have over there. It's just not what I moved on to the golf course for. And I don't think that it is fair. I know it's their property, so on and so forth, and I realize that we're now at the point where if they don't put on this 30 feet, we're gonna have a parking lot to look at. So either way, it's not pretty. If, moving forward, if this addition is put on, then I'm wondering if the zoning committee can say, okay, in order to do this, it has to be hidden from the people that are most affected by it. And just like with this fencing, why do you have to have fencing up there? Why can't you do plantings of some sort? Because that's what a golf course is all about. You know, it's supposed to be pretty and, you know, very nice. The LPGA is gonna like looking at this black fence. I mean, it's not as pretty as it used to be. And it's really too bad. And I wish that, you know, we had known more about this so that we didn't have to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other comments, questions?
I'm Emily Bennett. I live at 7302 Oak Hill Drive. You've got us from west to east. My neighbors have expressed very clearly our dissatisfaction with what's going on. I will also say that I am president of Bennett Management. We own and operate Burger Kings and Tony Pacos, so I see two sides of this. I see development and I see the housing situation. What we try to do when we are building a new store, remodeling a store, putting in a drive-through, putting in a double drive-through, we have housing behind us, we bend over backwards to make sure that we hide our building as best we can. Turn the speakers down, do whatever we can to be a really good neighbor so that we don't irritate people who have been in the neighborhood longer than we have in many instances. And I guess my request for Highland Meadows is to think about that. We've been neighbors now for decades. We like to be good neighbors. We appreciate what goes on there. We appreciate how well they've developed their golf course and grown the community and grown with the LPGA, grown all of the business potential when they're in town and whatever. But we don't want to look at that black fence. And it would be really wonderful if you could put some sort of tall bushes up or some sort of tree that doesn't lose its leaves during the winter time, so that we could be, you know, living in perfect harmony, if you will. They can go to their warehouse and we cannot have to look at it. And I think that is not much of an ask for some landscaping that hides what's going to be an eyesore for most of the year. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Any other comments from the public?
Oh. Can you show me where your houses are on this site map? Somebody? So I understand what we're talking about.
This is the third hole right here. You have, let's see, there's my house. You can see that.
So these three right here.
These three right.
Okay, thank you.
Any comments from members of council?
I just want a
Questions?
quick point of clarification. I think, Mrs. Bennett, you mentioned specifically the black fence. I'm a little confused about whether you're more concerned about the black fence or the building.
All of it.
Okay, just,
I could see the building and the guys when they come in to work at 5 o'clock in the morning, is, and obviously I'm up too. It would be lovely if they could put trees in front of it as well. But right now, I see this ugly black fence. And, you know, we'll see an extension of the building. So that's not what we want.
What I think, you know, I would share with you that you've all presented yourselves very well, and you've been very realistic about what's happening with the understanding that the opportunities and benefits that the golf course has brought to the community, and I appreciate that. I don't know what direction things will go. I don't know that a decision will even be made on that tonight, but I want to thank you for your professionalism.
I guess I do have a question for Highland. You know, so, you know, to their comments, has there been any consideration to some sort of natural screening, arborvitaes or some other planting such as that?
I don't think so. This is the first I've heard about the fence situation. The reason probably what I see is some trees that come down between 4 and 15, and or they would have probably never seen these things. Over the years, just the age of trees, and they've outgrown their space. That's probably what I see it. I know Mr. Krepp had a tree or two removed, which probably made it more visual. So that's probably what's happened. I'm not saying we can't do anything about it. It's just a matter of we got to figure out what can be done, because you can't put too much there, because now it starts to impede on the holes. So it's a problem.
Any comments or questions from members of council? So we have a unanimous vote from the planning commission, correct? Does council want to consider this further? Do they want to advance legislation? I believe Ms. Browning has legislation prepared. If we choose to want to advance it, what's the will of council?
I'm prepared to advance the legislation.
You know, I'd like to just get another pause for a moment. I was looking at the map. Nick, I think you said that this is the first time you've heard of this and that you're worrying about things impeding on the whole golf holes. It makes sense. Do you think Highland is open at all to taking a look and seeing if there is any way to provide some kind of landscaping assistance that would minimize the visual for the neighbors?
On the fence or the building?
Well, either one.
Yeah, I think we could do something. Like I said, I don't know. We've got 40 feet, we've got a bunch of big pine trees in there, and they've grown. We haven't cut them down, they've just grown and they're thin. When pine trees grow to a certain height, they get very thin. We could put some landscaping or something smaller there. That's how you're gonna conceal it, from that perspective. There's not much you can do between the two holes because the two tees are tied together.
Right, we don't want you to do that.
No, we're not,
Just, if
that's
you
not the issue.
plant something that hides this fence, that's a permanent fixture.
Well, the fence came about because every year the LPGA puts a fence up. They put that fence up.
Whatever you're gonna build, if it's just gonna be the extension of the storage shed, why couldn't you put something other than a photo shoot?
Like I said, there's a possibility of that. I can't, I'm not the ground superintendent, so I don't, I think we could do something to conceal a little bit better than we have it. There's a little bit of room on that side that's possible. I just don't know what the planting would be or, you know, what could grow in there that wouldn't grow too big. Because if you put a big tree, it's just gonna go over and see it.
I don't think we're asking for trees, I think we're talking about arborvitae or views or, you know,
yeah, something that's non-deciduous so that it can hide, especially, 7 months out of the year. We see that front center.
Yeah, like I said, I can bring it back and see what the superintendent can put together. I have no problem doing that. I think he'd be fine to help conceal it a little bit more. I just can't tell you what it would be or, I'm not into that side of it.
yeah, and I don't expect that answer from you tonight. I guess what I'd like is some confidence that will happen.
Do you even see the black fence they're talking about in any of these?
It's conceal it, take care of the bush, it's not gonna be.
Left side.
Mr. Myers, let me ask you a question. Is there a rush on this? I mean, is this something that you need to get done like now?
We need to get a building built so that we can start storing our carts. We have some storage here. We already have the carts, they're sitting inside of the property.
Okay,
And I know that, you know, with the building permits and all that stuff, we're gonna be looking at late fall anyway at this point.
right.
I mean, I can tell you this, we could get something in there to conceal some of it. I can't guarantee it's gonna block it all, but.
Okay.
The area that she would be concerned about would be about 50 feet is what I'm thinking of. Because you're concealed by 3 big pines.
They don't conceal because they're not close enough together.
No, but I don't know which house, there's some big pines off the back of number 14 and 15T.
Correct.
And then there's some trees there. So I don't know who's. Yes, there could be some, I think pines would be the best solution in that area.
So Mr. Myers, is that a commitment from the club in order to do that, or is that?
Yes, I'll work with our superintendent on getting something in there to conceal it.
That
And
help?
I guess my other question, you said the fence is there permanently now because the LPGA puts it in every time. Okay, so, but it goes down after they leave.
Yeah, we put it on the land for that.
But, so now we have to look at it when the LPGA isn't there for, okay.
It's
Ma'am, unfortunately, the public hearing is about the building, not the fence.
I guess, sorry.
Any thoughts from council?
Going to share with, maybe a group of counselors, someone, the report or whatever solutions or suggestions you come up with that may begin to help hide some of the buildings.
Yeah, I would think, we currently have pines where the buildings are, they've just outgrown, I mean, they're probably 50 feet tall now. So those, I think those would be the ones, and now you can see the building a little bit. I don't know if you can see it back when it was built, I don't know when it was built.
And I don't mean anything formal, I just mean after you've talked to the building, the grounds team, that you just share kind of what their suggestions and
We have a
suggestions.
small area that it's not gonna interfere with the golf course, it's in that section that we could do something.
Okay.
So, Mr. Hanem, you indicated you were prepared to advance legislation. Is that straight up advance the legislation? Is that a motion, or what's the thought process?
No, I was just declaring my thought process.
Okay,
If the club is committing to giving best efforts to conceal what they can, I'd be prepared to make a motion.
okay. I don't know that we need a formal motion for this particular thing. We need this, but I need to have a sense, I'd like to have a sense of council on whether they're comfortable putting this on the agenda for the meeting in a few minutes for consideration.
So I believe with his commitment, I'm comfortable moving in that direction. My question is, would it need to go back to the planning commission with their plans on landscaping?
Council can require that as a condition in the special use permit. If council decides to approve it tonight, we can add that as a condition and amend the legislation.
And I think we might want to have the service director and the Parks and Forestry director review what they submit.
Yeah, so we can just, subject to an acceptable landscaping plan.
Okay. Any other comments or concerns from members of council? Mrs. Westphal?
I think with those caveats in place and the plans coming back to the Parks and Forestry or the service director makes sense.
You okay with that?
Whatever council wants to do, I'm fine.
So with that, first of all, thank you very much for attending. I appreciate all your input and the opportunity to speak. That's one of the reasons we send the letters out to everybody. So you have that opportunity to have conversation and speak before us this evening, and we appreciate that. With that, we're going to close the public hearing at 7:47 PM. Thank you very much. You're welcome to stay for council. And we'll, because I don't need a motion in a second to close the public hearing for now. So you're welcome to stay for council. It's a relatively short agenda, so you're welcome to stick around and we can take this up here in a few minutes.